Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel, where I'm always breaking down the hot sports topics of the day. So be sure to subscribe to my page here on YouTube to get all of my sports talk videos delivered directly to your inbox. No surprise today, it's been announced that Andy Reid will be let go as the Eagles head coach. The formal announcement to come on Monday. Being that's the case, I thought I'd take some time to discuss, four names that I see as possible candidates to replace Andy Reid. I firmly think Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Eagles, is going to go the way of a young offensive mind, much like he did in 1999 when he was looking for a head coach and zeroed in on a 40-year-old Andy Reid to be his next head coach. I think he's going to go the offensive route. I think he's going to go for a younger mind as well. So I've kind of zeroed in on four names that I think are viable candidates for the job, and just want to hear what you guys think about them. First, Pete Carmichael, the offensive coordinator for the Saints. Carmichael is a guy, he's been with the Saints since Drew Brees came over from the Chargers. He actually coached the Saints for the first 6 games this year, while Joe Vitt served his suspension for Bountygate. And amidst all of the Bountygate scandal, the Sean Payton suspension, the Saints were still third in offense, both in points scored and yardage, total yardage. So I think Pete Carmichael showed that when there's adversity, as there was in New Orleans this year, and when he's out from under Sean Payton's shadow, that he can still get the job done as first and foremost a play caller and running the offense by himself as well. I think that was a big thing for him to show prospective employers, other NFL teams, and I think he did a good job of that this year. Carmichael's background, he had some assistant coaching stints before landing with San Diego, and he was Drew Brees' quarterback coach during his years in San Diego, and basically came over with Brees to New Orleans, and along with Sean Payton, those three have developed, sort of a trio, if you will, that has led one of the most prolific offenses the last 5 or 6 years in the NFL, an offense that has been consistent in putting up points, putting up yardage, and at the same time being a little bit innovative. I mean, they run some unique sets. It seems, implementing Jimmy Graham in recent years to the offense as a tight end, something they never used to feature a tight end, and they've done so in the past couple years. Again, he's a guy that I think showed other people in the NFL a lot by how he was able to sort of bring that offense along without Sean Payton, and I look for him to be a solid candidate for this job and any other job where the owner's looking for a young offensive mind. The next guy I wanted to mention here is Mike McCoy, the current offensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos. Mike McCoy is an interesting choice, and if I was an owner, he'd be a guy. If I was looking for an offensive coach, he'd be the guy I would probably hire, and this is why. You look at Mike McCoy's career. He was in Carolina. He was Jake Delhomme's quarterback coach in the mid-2000s when the Panthers went on their Super Bowl run. What did Jake Delhomme do after Mike McCoy was his coach? Not much. I think we all saw how average Delhomme was. I think under McCoy's tutelage, look, Delhomme played great in that Super Bowl that he played in against the Patriots, and I don't think that can be undervalued. He was also Kyle Orton's quarterback coach in Denver when Orton had those 1 or 2 good seasons there where he was putting up ridiculous numbers. Go back and look at the touchdowns and total yardage that Orton was putting up, and what has he done since? He's a mid-level quarterback at best, a steady backup in the league. Last year, he totally molded the offense to fit Tim Tebow. He starts with Kyle Orton, sort of a wide-open passing attack. Tim Tebow gets sort of thrust on him, and they're basically telling him, hey, look, figure out an offense to fit him. He changes the whole offense mid-season. Tebow has the success he had. They win a playoff game, okay? And then now, heading into this year, they got rid of Tebow and bring in Peyton Manning. And him and Peyton Manning have worked together to develop an offense to fit those needs. And look how much that offense has produced this year and how well they've played. So I just think the versatility of McCoy, the knowing that whatever talent he has to coach, he's going to do a good job, as evident by, if you look back at basically his whole career. I think that makes him an excellent head coach candidate. And if he doesn't get the Eagles job, I really expect him to land another job somewhere in the league. The only way I don't expect him to land a job is if owners and GMs are impatient and want a head coach in place, and if McCoy goes on a very deep playoff run here. Another guy that I like here is Greg Roman. He's currently the offensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Roman is a guy that the only hang-up people have with him is he's young and he's done everything coaching in conjunction with Jim Harbaugh. Even more so than the Pete Carmichael, Sean Payton relationship, because Carmichael had a history with Breeze before he came to New Orleans. Roman and Harbaugh were together at Stanford. They're now together with the 49ers. But if you look at Roman, he's coached 3 notable quarterbacks recently. All 3 totally different skill sets. Andrew Luck at Stanford, Alex Smith with the 49ers, Colin Kaepernick with the 49ers. And he's developed ways and developed offenses to make all 3 of those guys flourish. Andrew Luck, obviously, at Stanford was a great quarterback. Alex Smith had his best seasons, or his best season with Roman as his offensive coordinator. And I think you can see the potential in Kaepernick and how the 49ers are getting him in spots to succeed, whether it's with his legs, with his arm, throwing on the run, what have you. So I think Roman's a solid candidate. Again, the only thing against Roman would probably be his overall lack of experience, maybe his lack of experience at the college level, and the fact that he's done everything in conjunction with Harbaugh. But Greg Roman, another name to throw in the mix. The last name, the 4th name here, would be Jay Gruden, not John Gruden, Jay Gruden, the offensive coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals. Gruden is a guy whose pedigree was as an offensive assistant for his brother's Tampa Bay Buccaneers teams. He also has an extensive background in the Arena League, which is interesting. He was a player, coach, GM in the Arena League. And for the last 2 seasons, he's been the offensive coordinator of the Bengals. And the Bengals offense has come along nicely. Andy Dalton was a 2nd-round pick. He's been he's made the playoffs now. His first 2 years as a quarterback in the NFL, and much of that can be attributed to Jay Gruden. How Jay Gruden has brought him along. I think that that can't be underestimated. The Bengals have a pretty balanced offense, whether it's Andy Dalton to A.J. Green, Andy Dalton to Jermaine Gresham, or it's Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis on the ground. They've developed a nice little offense there, and Jay Gruden's obviously a big part of that. So those are the 4 names I like: Mike McCoy, Jay Gruden, Greg Roman, and Pete Carmichael. Okay? I don't look for them to go the Chip Kelly route. I think Jeffrey Lurie wants a proven NFL assistant to take over. I don't think he wants to take a chance on a college guy like a Chip Kelly. I don't think Jeffrey Lurie is a guy who's looking to make a splash. I think he knows his market. He knows the Philly fans. And he just wants a guy who's going to come in, realize the situation, and be a solid coach first and foremost, just like Andy Reid was. Andy Reid had a good tenure in Philly. I know it ended bad, and there were some bad moments, but there's a lot more good moments than bad moments. And those are the 4 names I think. What do you think about those guys replacing Andy Reid? Do you think they'll go defense? I think they'll go offense. That's why I came up with the 4 names that I did. Let me know what you guys think. As always, subscribe to my page to get all of my videos delivered directly to your inbox. And have a good night, guys. And as always, thanks for listening.